The Sunday brunch rush at my bakery was always controlled chaos, but adding my husband's family to the mix turned it into something special, and not in a good way. I watched from behind the counter as my sister-in-law, Patricia, held court at the large corner table, her voice carrying over the pleasant hum of satisfied customers. "I still can't believe you're playing housewife with your easy-bake oven," she said, loud enough for half the bakery to hear. "When are you going to get a real job, Sophia?" I focused on piping rosettes onto a batch of cupcakes, keeping my hands steady despite my rising irritation. 5 years of this. 5 years of Patricia's condescension, her jokes about my little hobby, her constant comparisons to her own career as a regional marketing manager for a chain restaurant. "It's not an easy-bake oven," my husband Daniel said wearily. "It's a commercial kitchen. Sophia runs a successful business." "Oh, Daniel," Patricia laughed, that tinkling sound that made my teeth ache. "A few tables and some muffins don't make a business empire. I manage 23 locations. That's a real career." Her husband Roger nodded along, as he always did. My mother-in-law, Ellen, tried to keep the peace. "The cranberry scones are lovely, dear." "Of course they are," Patricia said dismissively. "It's hard to mess up following a recipe. It's not like she's creating anything innovative. Just basic comfort food for people who don't know better." I set down my piping bag carefully, reminding myself that throwing pastry cream at family members was generally frowned upon, no matter how satisfying it might be. "Speaking of real careers," Patricia continued, scrolling through her phone, "did I mention I'm being featured in Restaurant Business Weekly? They're doing a profile on women leaders in the food industry. Actual leaders, not, well." She gestured vaguely at my bakery. "That's wonderful," I said, bringing over a fresh pot of coffee. "Congratulations." She looked surprised that I'd responded positively. "Yes, well, when you manage millions in revenue, people notice." "How much does this little place bring in?" "Enough to cover rent." "We do fine," I said simply. "Fine," she repeated, smirking. "That's what people say when they're embarrassed by the numbers. Don't worry, Sophia. Not everyone can handle corporate success. Some people are meant for simpler things." The bell above my door chimed, and I glanced up automatically to greet the new customer. The words died in my throat. Gordon Ramsay stood in my doorway, looking exactly like he did on television, intense, focused, and slightly terrifying even when he was smiling. "Sophia," he called out warmly. "Ready to film our Michelin documentary?" The entire bakery went silent. Forks stopped halfway to mouths. Coffee cups hung suspended in midair. Patricia's phone slipped from her suddenly nerveless fingers and clattered onto the table. "Gordon," I managed, my voice surprisingly steady. "You're early. I thought filming started at 2. "Couldn't wait," he said, striding into the bakery like he owned it. "Been thinking about your cardamom rose croissants all week. Tell me you have some left." "I saved you a batch," I said, moving on autopilot. "They're in the back." "Brilliant. Get them out here. Need to show the crew why this place is going to shake up everything people think they know about American bakeries." He finally seemed to notice the packed bakery, including my frozen family. "Hope I'm not interrupting?" "Just Sunday brunch," I said weakly. Patricia found her voice. You're Gordon Ramsay." He glanced at her with the same expression he used for undercooked risotto. "Yes. And you are?" "Patricia Winters. I'm in the food industry too. Regional manager for Applebee's." "How nice for you," he said in a tone that suggested it wasn't nice at all, then turned back to me. "Sophia, we need to discuss the timeline. After the Michelin announcement, you're going to be slammed. Have you thought about expansion?" "Michelin?" Ellen whispered. "Haven't told them yet?" Gordon asked me, raising an eyebrow. "Sophia's being considered for a Michelin star. First bakery in the state to even be evaluated. Course, after tasting her work, it's not a matter of if but when." I felt my face heating. "It's not confirmed." "Bollocks," he interrupted. "I've eaten at every Michelin-starred bakery from Paris to Tokyo. Your lavender honey tart alone could earn a star. And don't get me started on the duck confit croissant. That's not baking, that's bloody art." Patricia's mouth was opening and closing like a fish. But it's just a bakery." Gordon turned on her with the full force of his television personality. "Just a bakery? Just a bakery?" This woman trained under Pierre Hermé. She's revolutionizing traditional French pastry with modern techniques. Her croissant lamination is so perfect, French pastry chefs come here to learn from her. "French pastry chefs?" Roger echoed faintly. "Last month, The head pastry chef from Le Bernardin spent 3 days here studying her techniques, Gordon continued. But sure, call it just a bakery. Daniel was staring at me. You trained under Pierre Herm? The Pierre Herm? Why didn't you ever say? You never asked, I said quietly. And every time I tried to talk about my work, Patricia would change the subject to her restaurant chain management. This is impossible, Patricia sputtered. She makes muffins. Muffins? Gordon laughed, but it wasn't a pleasant sound. Show me these muffins. I reluctantly brought over our morning selection. He picked up what Patricia had dismissed as a basic blueberry muffin and broke it open, inhaling deeply. Right. See this crumb structure? That's not from a mixing bowl. That's from a professional sheeter. The distribution of fruit? Mathematical precision. And the flavor. He took a bite, closed his eyes. Meyer lemon zest, vanilla bean, and cardamom? Just a touch, I admitted. Brilliant. You've taken a simple muffin and elevated it to something extraordinary. That's what real innovation looks like. He turned back to Patricia. Not managing spreadsheets for a chain that serves frozen food. We don't serve frozen, Patricia started. Please, Gordon cut her off. I've reviewed Applebee's. Cisco truck delivers, you reheat. That's not cooking, it's logistics. The film crew chose that moment to arrive, equipment and all. My small bakery suddenly felt even smaller as cameras and lights began filling the space. Where do you want to set up? The director asked Gordon. Start with the kitchen, he said. I want to show the croissant making process. Sophia is the only baker in America who's properly maintained the traditional 81-layer lamination while incorporating modern flavor profiles. 81 layers? Patricia's voice was weak. Each one distinct, Gordon confirmed. Takes 3 days to do it properly. That's why her croissants cost $8 each and still sell out every morning. $8? Roger choked. For one croissant? 16 for the specialty ones, I said quietly. 22 for the gold leaf anniversary edition. And people pay that? Ellen asked, stunned. There's a waiting list, Gordon said with satisfaction. 6 months for the anniversary edition. Now, Sophia, let's discuss the cookbook. Cookbook. Daniel's voice cracked. Haven't signed the deal yet, I said, shooting Gordon a look. Penguin Random House, he said anyway. 7-figure advance. They're calling it The Architecture of Pastry. Brilliant title, by the way. Patricia stood abruptly, her chair scraping loudly. This is ridiculous. Some reality TV stunt. There's no way my sister-in-law is getting a Michelin star and a cookbook deal. She's a housewife who bakes. Gordon's expression went from amused to dangerous. A housewife who bakes? This woman has a degree from Le Cordon Bleu, trained at Le Durie, worked under 3 Michelin-starred chefs, and created pastries that I, someone who's earned 17 Michelin stars, can't replicate. But sure, dismiss her as a housewife. You never told us any of this, Ellen said to me, her voice hurt. I tried, I said tiredly. Remember Christmas 3 years ago? I mentioned my time in Paris, and Patricia said, "Oh, how nice a vacation." When I clarified it was for training, she laughed and asked if I'd learned to make French toast. It was a joke, Patricia protested. It was dismissive, I corrected. Every accomplishment, every achievement, every step forward in my career was a joke to you. So I stopped sharing. The director cleared his throat. Chef Ramsay, we really should start filming. Right. Gordon clapped his hands. Everyone out except essential personnel. Sophia, get your team ready. I want to show the world what actual innovation in baking looks like. I'm her husband, Daniel said quickly. I'm essential. Gordon looked at him appraisingly. You the one who does the books? He does, I confirmed. He's been supportive from day one. Then he stays. The rest of you. He made a shooing motion. Patricia gathered her things with shaking hands. This isn't over. When this little publicity stunt ends. When this publicity stunt ends, Gordon interrupted, Sophia will have a Michelin star, a best-selling cookbook, and a bakery empire. You'll still be managing Applebee's. Now get out of my set. As my in-laws filed out, Ellen paused by the door. Sophia, I'm so sorry. We should have listened. Really listened. I softened slightly. You can come back tomorrow. I'll save you some of the rose pistachio eclairs. After they left, Gordon turned to me with a grin. So, ready to traumatize some food critics with how good your pastries are? You didn't have to destroy Patricia, I said, though I was fighting a smile. Yes, I did, he said simply. Talent like yours, dismissed by someone who thinks managing chain restaurants is the pinnacle of the food industry? That's criminal. Now, let's make some television. And Sophia? Yes. Next time someone calls your work a cute little hobby, remind them that I don't fly across the country for hobbies. I come for excellence. As the cameras started rolling, Daniel squeezed my hand. Why didn't you tell me about Paris? About Pierre Herm? Because I didn't need to, I said simply. You believed in me without the credentials. Patricia needed them and still wouldn't have believed. That's the difference. The filming took 6 hours. Gordon showcased every technique, every innovation, every detail that made my little hobby a destination for food lovers from around the world. He even made me demonstrate the chocolate soufflé that had made him cry, his words, during his secret visit 6 months ago. By the time we wrapped, the story had already hit social media. Food bloggers were descending, reservation requests were flooding in, and my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. This is just the beginning, Gordon warned as he prepared to leave. Ready for what comes next? I looked around my bakery, my life's work that Patricia had dismissed as playing housewife. I've been ready for 5 years. He grinned. That's why you're getting the star. Well, that and the fact that your croissants are better than anything in France. Don't tell the French I said that. After he left, Daniel and I sat in the empty bakery, surrounded by the chaos of filming equipment being packed away. Patricia's going to be insufferable, he said. No, I corrected. She's going to be humble. For the first time in her life, she's going to have to recognize that managing spreadsheets isn't the only path to success. And your path? I smiled, thinking of the Michelin star, the cookbook, the empire Gordon had seen before I'd even dared to dream it. My path starts with flour, butter, and sugar. And apparently it leads to the stars. The next morning, there was a line around the block. Every food critic in the state wanted to taste what Gordon Ramsay had called revolutionary. Every table was full, every pastry sold out by noon. And at the corner table, where Patricia had held court just yesterday, sat a group of French pastry chefs, taking notes and photos, discussing in rapid French how I'd achieved the impossible lamination in my croissants. Daniel translated for me. They're saying you've advanced pastry by a decade. They want to know if you'll teach a master class in Lion. I thought of Patricia, probably watching the morning news coverage of Gordon's visit, seeing her housewife sister-in-law being called the future of American pastry. Tell them yes, I said. But first I have muffins to make. Basic muffins. $8 muffins. Michelin star-worthy muffins. And not a single easy-bake oven in sight.